All right, thank you all for joining. In the interest of time, we're going to get started. My name is Chelsea Favero. I'm with Ford Pinellas, and today I'm going to walk you all through the annual call for projects and give you some highlights about how it's going to run this year. So the role of Ford Pinellas with the transportation part of our agency is to develop an annual list of priorities. And these priorities that the priority projects that we come up with, we really seek to align transportation funding with the land use goals of the agency. And then we go ahead and we turn around and we work with the Florida Department of Transportation to advance those priorities into the work program for funding. Now, we don't do this in a vacuum, obviously. We depend on our local government partners and all of you to identify what those projects are. And one of the ways that we do that is through our annual call for projects. Now, this is the schedule for the call for projects for this year. We have a number of different grant programs, and this year we are only opening the call for projects for our local agency grants. We are not opening the Transportation Alternatives Program this year, and we're not opening up the multimodal transportation list for any major projects this year either. Really just because those two lists have gotten quite a few new projects added to them in recent years, and it's going to take us some time to work through those and get them advanced for funding. So the local agency grants is a smaller grant program that we usually add high on our priority list, and we seek funding in the new 5th year. So we're pretty well established that that project does get funded. So the schedule is that we released the call for projects back in July. Today is our webinar. We are asking that you reach out to myself by August 22nd, which is next Friday, to request a pre-application meeting. And that's really just to talk through your ideas. Maybe our team has some suggestions with ways to strengthen your application, maybe some things that you don't need to be putting in your application that you're considering. So we do require that everyone that plans to submit sit down with us for 15, 20 minutes virtually and just kind of talk through your suggestions. Now, we do offer technical assistance in forms of we can do some basic mapping, we can provide crash data or traffic count data. We just ask that if you believe you're going to need that assistance, please let us know by mid-September, just to make sure that everyone's not coming in at the very end and asking for support that maybe our staff at that point is a little too busy to provide right away. So please just think about your needs and let us know early on if we can help you in any way. The deadline for applications is going to be October 31st. And then we'll do an internal review of the applications received, and we'll put together a subcommittee of local government partners that have not submitted applications to review and score those projects and make recommendations. Those recommendations will go to the committees in February of next year, and they'll go to the board for approval in March. And then we'll prioritize those construction projects for the new 5th year in May. And then for the planning project, the funds will be available on July 1st, 2026. So the local agency grant program. We've had now 8 years of success with this program. This was formerly the Complete Streets program. So far, we've awarded over $10 million in grants to our local government partners. And the reason that we stopped calling it Complete Streets was really just because there was a demand and desire for more funding flexibility above and beyond what Complete Streets is identified as. So this program will continue to leverage the transportation and the land use components. In terms of the program overview, it is a competitive program. The pre-application meeting is required. Again, technical assistance is available, and then we do have technical scoring for evaluation. For this year, there will be a maximum of $150,000 available for planning projects. This will be available in FY27, which starts July 1st, 2026. The minimum project award will be for $35,000. So we will allow for multiple awards depending on the applications that come in, as long as we do not exceed that $150,000 number. This does require a formalized agreement with Ford Pinellas and your local agency to be executed by July 1st, 2026. And you must use one of the Ford Pinellas general planning consultants for this work because these dollars are federalized. There are a maximum of 3 applications allowed per local agency. And below that, you can see a list of just generally some of the things that this funding could go for. All sorts of planning and research projects, evaluation of conditions for pilot technology applications, etc. There must be a transportation component to all projects because these are federal transportation dollars, so it cannot be just purely land use. When it comes to the minimum criteria, this is very similar to what we've had in the past. There must be demonstrated local support for a project. And then you have to show how the project will help advance the goals of the countywide land use plan. And then they'll be scored on what you see up on the screen. This is very similar to the scoring that we used last year, with a few exceptions. We still want to look at the potential to involve the public, to improve safety, to improve facilities that contribute to the max index, that improve access to or along an investment corridor, that improve access to a CRA. In the past, we looked at environmental justice areas as well. The federal government no longer mandates environmental justice criteria, so that has been removed for this year. The potential to serve multiple modes, and then the potential to complete a gap in the network. For construction/capital grants, we're offering up to $3 million for these. So we'll prioritize these with the next cycle, and we'll seek inclusion of the project in the 2028 to 2032 FDOT work program. Again, this is not guaranteed, but in the last 8 years, we've been very successful in getting each year the project gets into the new 5th year. The minimum project award for this will be $300,000 and a max of 2 applications per agency. And then here you can see a list of projects that could be included in that. You could do a complete streets project, procure multimodal counting equipment, other technological equipment to improve mobility. Transit signal priority is an example that has come up recently. Bicycle parking infrastructure, safety improvements, etc. The caveat here is that any investments have to be made or placed in the public right-of-way. This cannot be used for an improvement or any kind of capital equipment outside of the public right-of-way. The minimum criteria for this one is very similar to the others. The 2 exceptions, or 3, is if you are doing construction, your agency must be LAP certified. That's the local agency program. That is a federal requirement. If you are not currently LAP certified, but you are committed to becoming certified for a specific project, that's okay as well. We just ask that you indicate it on your application. All right-of-way must be available and secured, either through ownership or through an easement. And then you have to complete an FDOT application that is provided on our website. The scoring for this is very, very similar to the scoring for the planning grants, with the exception of instead of it has the potential to improve safety, your project components must demonstrate how they will improve safety. And then all of the other criteria that you see here on the page. So again, a pre-application meeting is required. An online application must be used for all projects. These are posted on our website. Supporting documentation can also be added via the application portal. One thing we do want to point out is once you start an application and putting it into the system, you must complete it at that time. You can't save your progress and come back later. So if you want to go in there and take some screenshots of everything, we highly encourage that. But generally, the application follows exactly the criteria, the way it's laid out in the application. And the scoring will be done by a subcommittee of technical coordinating committee and planner advisory committee members. For those of you more on the transportation side, the PAC, those are more land use planners, and that'll be completed in the spring. So just a summary, these are the deadlines again for how we're moving forward with this program. And I'm happy to take any questions right now, or if you want to contact me later, my information is up on the screen. Does anyone have any questions? All right, well, hearing none, again, my contact information is there. I do ask that you reach out to me directly at the agency, as I will not be involved in the scoring. So if you have ideas, suggestions, questions, or concerns, my cell phone and my email address are on the screen. This webinar is being recorded and will be posted online when we're done here today. And thank you all for your interest in the Ford Pinellas grant programs, and I look forward to working with you all in the future.